friends, welcome to episode 7 of Vlogmas, and today we're doing a December TBR holiday reading recommendations video. Sheila is spending the next 20 odd minutes talking about books. So if that sounds fun and exciting to you, grab a cozy warm beverage, friends, a nice seat, a blanket perhaps. Cozy up because we'll be here for a while. You know I like to chat. Also, yes, Santa hat, we're doing it. We're going all in. Also, yes, red lipstick. First time wearing it. I love it. Cheers. All right, let's dive in, friends. I wanted to make this video all month, just have not had the energy or just brain space to be like, yes, let's sit down and talk about books for 20 some minutes. And I woke up today being like, today's the day, and then the thoughts went through my head of, is it too late to post this video? It's never too late, friends. It is December 15th. There is 10 more days until Christmas, 16 more days to the end of the year, and that is plenty of time to get some holiday reading in, or just any book that's kind of cozy this time of the year. So let's dive in, shall we? You guys know I'm a mood reader, and I essentially like to have a menu of books to select from every month because I need a non-committal selection of books, because TBRs are just very intimidating to me, and I feel like once I say I'm gonna read all these books, I have to read all these books, and that can really screw with your head. So I have a menu of books. I'm pretty confident that I want to read all of these this month, and 2 of them I'm nearly done with. So I also have additional books that are floating on my menu that I'll share after the initial kind of main TBR. So like I said, we love tiers. So let's dive into my main books, and I'll be upfront and tell you guys that I'm not prepared in terms of giving you fun, succinct, unique descriptions of these book summaries. I think it'd be fun to just read, you know, the back of it, kind of like we're by the fireside, we're hanging out, we have our coffee or tea or hot chocolate, and you're like, Sheila, what are you reading this month? And I just read the back of it. Transport yourself, guys, to a cozy living room with a fireplace. The fire is crackling. We have our drinks, and Sheila is gonna talk about books. Start with the first 2, which I'm currently reading. I started reading Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. Also, can we take a moment for this cover? So the paperback came out very recently, and the hardcover's been out, I think, for over a year. And while the hardcover, which is this beautiful black, you know, unique book, those kind of books scare me because the binding is just not, it's not trustworthy. Like, when I opened it, I was like, this binding's gonna break immediately once I start reading it, and it's not gonna live through time. I mean, hello, you guys know things need to last a long time for this archivist. So when I saw this is a Barnes & Noble exclusive cover, I guess. This was in the buy one get one half off section, which I never buy stuff from the BOGO section, but I've been wanting to read this. I also got this one with my BOGO, and you can see I was unsuccessful in getting that off, but I got both of these together and was so excited because I had just finished reading Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman and was like, I need this. And I haven't read this yet, but I want to in the new year. So anyway, that's my backstory to why I got this cover, which is so pretty. But this book is a fantasy book basically about a girl named Emily Wilde who is a mortal human professor, and this does take place in the early 1900s, so it is a historical fantasy, which we know is my cup of tea. So this had everything going for it for me in terms of like the ambiance. There are fairies, there's this professor, so it has this academic vibe. She is in Losland, which I believe is in Scandinavia, which is like a fictional, you know, geographic area in this world. Let's read the insert, shall we? A curmudgeonly professor journeys to a small town in the far north to study fairy folklore and discovers dark fae magic, friendship, and love in the start of a heartwarming and enchanting new fantasy series. So the other fun thing is that this book is also a series. So the next book in line, they have a little excerpt at the end of this one, and the story just continues, and I think that's so fun. I'm pretty much nearing the end of this book, guys. I have like 20 pages left, and I've been really enjoying it. It's something I've been looking forward to read every day when I wake up and grab my book in the morning in my bed and reading it on my lunch break or bed. So it's been a very cozy read. It's definitely not the best book I've ever read or like amazing in terms of the world building or fantasy elements. I love the fairy magic element in it, and I think it's very special, and I love the mix of human realm and fairy realm. And basically in this world we have the human realm, and then there are little doors hidden all over, you know, the world where you can go into different fairy portals. And since she's a professor, the other thing I really like about this book is that there are footnotes, because the whole story is written in the form of Emily's journal. So each chapter is like a journal entry which recounts Emily's day and the adventure she had been on and all the drama that she's been encountering, which there's definitely drama towards the end, and it's been really fun to follow along. So, you know, I love my little footnotes. So she's like explaining kind of like fairy folklore, because it's a scientific thing that is recognized in this world, and she's writing a whole series of encyclopedia which has been the backbone of her study of the fairy folk. So fun, right? I love it. I definitely recommend it if you are looking for something that kind of fits that fairy fantasy magical realism vibe. The next book that I'm also reading while I'm reading Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies is A Winter in New York by Josie Silver. This is a new release that just came out, and I got this through Book of the Month, trusty old BOTM. I'm a little over halfway through with this book. I'm really enjoying it. I love Josie Silver. I've read a couple of her books in the past, One Day in December being another holiday romance book that I definitely recommend to read during this time of the year. That was my first book that I read of hers and really enjoyed it. And you know, romance can be hit or miss. You know, I know some people are major romance readers. I love all kinds of genres, so I feel like when it comes to romance, there's a particular standard that I need in order to really enjoy a book and take it seriously. I love a good cheesy romance when it's meant to be cheesy and it's done in a good way. And this, Josie Silver, I mean, she writes like it's a novel. Like, it's a full-blown novel, guys. It's not just a quick and dirty cheesy romance. I love the story building and the characters and the subplots and all the fun little elements that Josie Silver throws into her writing. So, A Winter in New York. A young chef stumbles upon a secret family recipe that might lead her to the love and life she's been looking for. So this book is about our main character, Iris, who her mother has passed away, and she just is getting out of a really bad relationship. She's originally from London or England and moves to New York City to essentially start her life over and start fresh. She meets a friend named Bobby and eventually moves in with him, and she's working at this noodle house because she is a chef and she's just, you know, trying to get by. So she's working at this noodle house, and she ends up randomly finding this gelato place with her friend Bobby, and she tastes the gelato and it brings back all these memories of her childhood, and she realizes that this gelato place is the same gelato that she had with her mom when they went to New York City when she was a girl. So it brings back all these memories of her childhood and her mom, and it kind of spurs us into the story because the owner of the gelato shop is this young guy named Gio, and they eventually meet and have this relationship and fall in love, yada yada yada. But of course there is drama with all of this because Gio, his family business, they forgot the recipe to the gelato, and the only person that knows it is his father, or it's his uncle, but it's his father figure, and he just had a heart attack or a stroke and has memory loss, and they can't remember the recipe. So Iris is tasked with helping Bobby come up with the recipe, and that's how our story kind of goes from there. So at first glance, like the plot, it doesn't really like get me going, but once I started reading this, like I was fully immersed in the story and the characters. So this might be a book where you don't need to read the summary too much, just go with it. Okay, in terms of like how we're flowing through these books, I feel like they're like slowly, gradually going from not Christmassy to Christmassy. So my next book I'm really excited about is The Gentleman's Gambit by Eevee Dunmore. So this is a historical fantasy book, part of a series called The Extraordinary League of Women, and this is the 4th book, I believe, in the series. So I've read all the books, obviously. Bringing Down the Duke was the first one, and that's made me really fall in love with this series because Eevee Dunmore, she, again, is kind of like Josie Silver, but takes a step forward because she is a wonderful writer in terms of the historical fiction aspect, which is very important, very, very important to me. And then her romance elements are amazing. So it's like the perfect blend of historical romance. And honestly, I feel like Eevee Dunmore is probably my favorite historical romance writer. I mean, I fell in love with Bringing Down the Duke, and this one, I think it's the 3rd book, Portrait of a Scotsman. I love this one too. So basically each book follows a different young lady, woman, part of this group of friends who is called the Extraordinary League of Women. So they are living in England in the 19th century, and of course, women's rights are not how they are today. So there are a lot of themes around women's rights and suffrage and dismantling the Victorian view of women, and I love that aspect too. So The Gentleman's Gambit takes place in Oxford. Deeply introverted Catriona Campbell, oh my gosh, it's still early in the morning, guys, so me trying to like function and read, it's a little difficult right now. She dreams of romance too, but since all her attempts at love have ended badly, she now keeps her desires firmly locked inside her head until she climbs out of a Scottish loch after a good swim and finds herself face to face with a stranger, who turns out to be her father's attractive new colleague. That's how we're going with this one. So I'm just excited to read this. I'll probably read this after Christmas because it's not overtly Christmas, but I feel like just any kind of like romance, even historical romance at this time, can give me that like wishful thinking, head in the clouds feeling, which is what we need. We need a good escape. All right, now we're moving on to 2 very overtly Christmas books. The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan in this cute little book. I have read one other book by Jenny Colgan. I'll pop it up. I can't think of what the name is right now. I listened to it on audiobook, so I've not like actually read a Jenny Colgan book, and I know she's written a lot of books, and I know a lot of people really like her writing, so I want to give the reading aspect of her books a go, because whatever the other book was that I read, it was okay. I didn't really love it, so I'm giving this book a chance because I know that this is a beloved book as well. So laid off from her department store job, Carmen has perilously little cash and few options. The prospect of spending Christmas with her perfect sister Sophia in Sophia's perfect house, with her perfect children and her perfectly ordered yuppie life, does not appeal. Frankly, Sophia doesn't exactly want her prickly sister there either. But Sophia has yet another baby on the way, a mother who is desperate to see her daughters get along, and a client who needs help revitalizing his shabby old bookshop. So Carmen moves in and takes the job. Thrown rather suddenly into the inner workings of Mr. Macready's ancient bookshop on the picturesque streets of historic Edinburgh, Carmen is intrigued despite herself. The store is dusty and disorganized, but undeniably charming. Can she breathe some new life into it in time for Christmas shopping? What will happen when a famous and charismatic author takes a sudden interest in the bookshop and in Carmen? And will the Christmas spirit be enough to help heal Carmen's fractured family? Dun dun dun. Okay, so I hadn't fully read the description until now, and after I just read that, I'm like fully on board with this vibe and this story. And I mean, it takes place at a bookshop, Christmas time. Our protagonist is trying to figure things out. There's a romance element. There's this like sense of hope and joy, and I just need that. So I'm really excited to start this after I finish my 2 other books. And our last book is a cozy Christmas mystery. I'm embarking in the world of cozy mysteries. Please let me know what your favorite cozy mysteries are down below. You can give me Christmas or winter ones now, because I'll probably want to read those, but I know there's a ton of like autumn ones. I just don't know where to start with them because I don't really know if I'll like cozy mysteries, and I figured you guys can give me some recommendations. So this is A Page Marked for Murder by Lauren Elliot. A murder and a missing book have Addie Grayborn running around her Massachusetts town trying to read the clues. January isn't the season for the seaside, but the big fire and ice festival is keeping bookstore owner Addie busy. Amid the plans for a fireworks display and an ice carving competition, she's also dog sitting for a friend in the hospital. When Addie goes to her friend's house to gather supplies, she notices an interesting item on the nightstand, which belongs to her shop assistant, Paige, a very valuable copy of the beloved children's book, The Secret Garden. I actually have The Secret Garden and have not read it. But Addie's blood runs cold when she finds something else, a dead body behind the bakery next door to her shop. Martha, the bakery owner, has no alibi and has been seen in a heated argument with the victim. And the next thing Addie knows, the first edition has gone missing. Is there a connection between the body and the treasured tomb? And if there is, it's up to Addie to find a killer with a motive as hidden as Francis Hodgkins Burnett's famous garden. Okay, so we have a little like connection with the secret garden. Seaside charm only gets better in a winter. A page mark for murder has all the things I love in a book. Vicky Delaney. So that's very fun. We have New England, we have books, we have murder. I'm really interested to see what I'll think of this, and it's also an under 300 pages, so I feel like it'll read a little bit quicker than the other ones, so I feel like this will be really good to read right up around Christmas time and maybe like even on Christmas, because I just love having a super cozy Christmas book to read on Christmas. All right, friends, those are all my definitely reading this month books. So let's actually talk about some reading recommendations. I want to kind of just blitz through these so you guys can kind of get an idea, and you can go off and do your own little searching if any of the titles or covers are intriguing to you. All right, first two, again, are historical fictions. It's my favorite genre after fantasy, guys, or with fantasy. So The Circus Train by Amita Parikh. I read this, I think it was either last holiday season or this early January, maybe it was in January, but this is like a very wintry read. It takes place during World War II in Europe. There's a circus element. Our main character is disabled and in a wheelchair, and she is in a traveling circus traveling around Europe. Of course, during World War II, you have everything with the war going on and Germany, so there's all these elements swirling around, and Lena is just trying to make it in the world, make some friends, and there's a little bit of romance in here as well. So this is just a really charming and lovely book that kept me thinking, so I definitely recommend that one. The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. I read this a couple years ago, and I also did a reading vlog during Vlogmas, and this book I just found randomly in like a free giveaway section when I was out and about in my hometown, and I just loved it so much. And again, it's a historical fiction in 17th century Netherlands, so it's like it has like Dutch, you know, cultural influences in it. The Miniaturist, the rarest of things, beautifully written. So our protagonist is in this marriage that's kind of, and she gets a gift from her new husband, which is a cabinet-sized replica of their home, which is basically just a miniature. So back in the, you know, this time period, miniatures were really popular. It comes to life, so there's magical realism in this, enchanting, beautifully written, and honestly, I definitely want to reread this because I don't remember fully what happens, so I feel like this is a good reread book, and a new read too if you guys are into that. So the other books are out here in the living room because I have them on display. Okay, so all of these books I have read, and we'll go through those. These books over here I have not read, so these are kind of like on my menu. We have A Timeless Christmas by Alexis Stanton, a historical fiction, of course. This one is, On Christmas Morning. So I think this is a compilation of different authors. Debbie Mayne, Trish Perry. Again, these are just cozy little romance books. Candy Cane, Murder. So this is another compilation of different stories by these two different authors. And again, this is like a quick, you know, cozy read. So these ones, Murder Most Festive. I remember this. I wanted to read like a murdery non-romance Christmas book, and this seemed really fun, and it was okay. It wasn't great. It's definitely like a quick read that you can read on Christmas or near Christmas to kind of get the vibes, but you will not get any extraordinary writing or character development or anything along those lines. Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Baelish. I think I read this last year. And I know Jenny Bayless has many, many books. One that I want to read, I think, is like The 12 Dates of Christmas. So if you've read that one, let me know what you thought of it. This one was my first and only Jenny Bayless book, and it was okay. I mean, it's like a Josie Silver kind of book where there's, you know, in-depth storyline and characters. It's truly a novel and romance elements, but I just feel like it kind of dragged. And yeah, but it's good for this time of year. All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox. And you'll see there are actually 2 Maggie Knox books because I read The Holiday Swap first a few years ago, and it was about 2 twins that trade places during the holidays, and I just love that plot kind of trope, and I really love that. So then I was like, oop, there's a new book, All I Want for Christmas, which I think this was about a country like pop star and then she meets this guy who's kind of like her competitor, and it's like an enemies to lovers trope, and it was okay. I definitely prefer The Holiday Swap over All I Want for Christmas, but both are 2 great holiday reads, and I love the covers because you know me and covers. Last one is Nick and Noelle's Christmas Playlist by Cody Hall. Not a great book. Definitely not my favorite of all of these ones probably, but I just love the cover. Again, it's good to have as a little decor, and I don't even remember what this is really about. I think it's like a friends to lover kind of thing. Nick and Noelle are like best friends, but they're not gonna date, but then they end up dating, dun dun dun. So it was okay. It was okay. So yeah, have your pick. All right, friends, that concludes my December TBR holiday reading recommendations video. I hope you enjoyed it, found some entertainment, maybe a book or 2 that you found interest in, or we'll send you down a rabbit hole to find a book that you are interested in. So please let me know down in the comments what book you're currently reading, or what books you're reading this month or would like to read, or any cozy holiday reading recommendations for me and for everybody else reading in the comments. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!